Welcome to Vibrational Revelations. I'm Elena.
I am Alejandro.
And it's a pleasure for us to share and reveal the numbers for today's episode. Today's episode is on CERN, C-E-R-N, and the God particle. So a lot of you have reached out with concerns of the latest news, July 5th launch of CERN. So we wanted to absolutely touch upon the subject. Since 2 years ago, Alejandro and I, in one of the first public episodes, we did the revelation on CERN. And at that time, actually, and looking at our measurements today, the frequency of CERN did not change. There's a couple of shifts that did happen, which is the alignment with divine purpose. So we'll dive into all of the frequencies, all of the numbers. For those of you that are brand new to our YouTube channel, make sure that you subscribe. There is a link below, which you can use to download the PDF file of the description of what the frequencies mean and also the breakdown of numbers. If you would like to go into deeper discussion, it does not take place on YouTube, but it takes place in the Vibrational Revelations membership community. So let's begin. First of all, what is CERN? CERN is the European Center for Nuclear Research. And yesterday they relaunched their Large Hadron Collider, okay? And using this Large Hadron Collider back in 2012, this is where CERN attempted and discovered Higgs Boson Particle. So back in 1964, scientists have theorized about the existence of this God particle, which we're going to reveal to you today because it is very, very significant. And then we'll go into kind of our own little explanation of the frequencies and why it's where it is at the moment. So another thing to keep in mind, the CERN, or the European Center for Nuclear Research, is located on the Franco-Swiss border. It is underground, okay? And this is, of course, a facility that is studying matter and antimatter. So let's go into the frequency of the Large Hadron Collider at CERN, because this is what was restarted, okay? The overall frequency, again, this is on a scale of 0 to 1,000. And this is a frequency of 125. Again, back to 2 years ago when we did a live episode, we did reveal the frequency, and the frequency is the same. What is 125? It's a frequency of unfulfilled desire, addiction. So what does it tell us? It's letting us know that humanity, or the scientists, we should say, at this facility are attempting to investigate further. There's this unfulfilled desire, and perhaps this is why they restarted this project, because of the discovery from back 2012. Now, we're also measuring how this Large Hadron Collider, the event that happened yesterday, the restart of it, how it's impacting human energy field. And we're looking through the lens of frequencies and emotions. So the impact on human energy field is 50, which is apathy, disconnect, disassociation. Impact on human body is 50, again, 0 to 1,000 scale. Impact on human perception is 50. We also measured how it impacts the earth. And the earth, those of you that had listened to our previous episodes know where the earth vibrational frequency is. It's an evolved sentient being, right, at a frequency of 700. We will be releasing the episode on humanity, but we did mention that overall frequency of humanity in 2022 is 125. So this is another interesting alignment, that the CERN, Large Hadron Collider, vibrates at exactly the same frequency of where humanity is. So impact on Earth is a frequency of 200. So this heroic, courageous frequency. And impact on our universe is 50. Again, keep in mind that yes, humanity is meant to explore. We are the explorers of the universe. It is part of who we are, to explore the nature of our reality, right? But again, all this information that they are collecting at CERN will ultimately come down to what they do with this information, right? How it's being applied and utilized. Now, the next two things that we measured is alignment with divine purpose. So 2 years ago, when we measured CERN, it was turned off. and the alignment was 37%. So completely out of alignment. This is the interesting change that happened. So even though the frequency didn't change, the alignment with divine purpose of restarting this Large Hadron Collider at CERN went up to 95%. So what does it tell us? It tells us that from a divine perspective, we're meant to explore whatever it is that's going to be revealed through the information that's going to come through. The next number we looked at is the alignment with the mission, alignment with the mission of that project. And they're 100% in alignment with their mission. So now we're going to look into this Higgs Boson Particle. Alejandro is going to reveal the numbers to you, which was, again, as I mentioned, hypothesized in 1964 and discovered in 2012 at CERN. And there is a reason why the scientists wanted to restart this project, and it's going to be very clear.
For a whole generation, they were actually acting based on faith, the faith that it existed, right? But they didn't have a solid proof. So I can imagine they're already excited to reopen this project. The Higgs boson, known as the God particle, the colloquial name, vibrates at the frequency of 1000. That is the maximum frequency for the human experience. Right? And that will be a fully integrated being. In this case, yes.
Yeah, I wanted to say that God, for those of you that don't know, we measured God, the term God, and the frequency is infinite. So it's interesting that Higgs boson particle measures at 1000, which is the highest, sort of like the ceiling for the human experience, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
Impact on human energy field, 700. It's wonderful. That's where the illumination phase begins. And also, the enlightenment process begins at the frequency of 700.
Yeah. So this project, this particle is going to bring a lot of wisdom, light.
Yes, definitely. Divine information. Yes. It's kind of like when pain or discomfort serves as a catalyst, depending on what the person is at, what they experience, how they process that information or that event or situation that brought the discomfort or the pain. But it is always an opportunity, to transmute that and then a whole another door, a bigger door opens up with things that we have never even imagined existed. And I feel that that's kind of what is happening here, because as you reveal the frequencies for the Large Hadron Collider at 125, and then we see that the cause of this, or for this project to continue, really is based on the so-called God particle, right? It vibrates at 1000. It's almost like the opposite,
human desire,
extreme opposite,
to explore and to know had opened the door to the unknown, and therefore more exploration is needed. And I think this is going to be a fascinating thing of where it's going to take humanity.
Yes, and as always, like you mentioned too, it depends on the, I will say, the state of the level of consciousness that those that find the information or have the access to this information
and how they use
are experiencing, so that will determine how they will use it, right? But it's really fascinating that we can actually get a clearer picture of what is actually taking place by knowing the frequencies.
Yes.
Now, impact excuse me, impact on human body, 200. Which is the heroic courage level of consciousness. Impact on human perception is 400.
Analytical.
So analytical, you're right? Analyzing and able to process huge amounts of information as well.
And you know what I was thinking? Here's one thing to keep in mind, that science is approaching this project through ego, trying to discover God through ego, right? And it's actually quite limited. So it's funny, when we read Impact on Human Perception, the ego comes in, right? Because it's through ego, we're not going to find God or the creator or creation itself, the process of creation. So in some ways, humanity or the science is not ready, but this holds a very important key.
Exactly, to open a bigger door, right? With a wider perspective or view of what is actually taking place. But I feel that will be a never-ending journey, right? Because that really is our own journey, is a never-ending journey, since we're not limited to this body, right? Great point. 400 is all based on information, and that's really what science is, right? Most of the time, is if it can be proven with science, then it is
a fact,
and then it is true,
right?
But because of that, because it has to be compared, has to be analyzed, and based on the information that has proven to work or not work, that it remains limited, right? And until we really open up and strengthen our connection with our inner essence, the God within us, is that we can detach from the known and allow the unknown, allow the intelligence to flow.
But I feel that actually it is important to have science and the strength and connection to create the bridge, because it is the unknown, the deepest connection that takes us into exploring our nature of reality, which takes us into science, which ultimately, what is science? It's spirituality.
Exactly. That definitely has to be very well understood.
Intertwined, yes.
Yes, information triggers a feeling, and the feeling has its own frequency, and that creates a ripple effect and attracts alike, right? More information that's similar to that. And anyways, it never ends. Now, when it comes to impact on Earth, is 200. Impact on our universe, 700.
This is interesting because a couple of you had reached out and said, Elena, please read the frequency of the CERN, right? Which we have, right? Which has to do with Large Hadron Collider. And I said to Alejandro, we have to look now at the God particle, because I want to know how that information is going to impact our universe. Because some of you reached out and said, oh, there's information going around saying it's opening up all these dangerous portals. Well, based on this, it's impacting our universe, I would say, in a positive way, because it's creating a frequency of illumination. That means it's opening doors for further exploration. Yeah, it's like the Odyssey into space, the Odyssey into the unknown.
Yes, and depends on how we
use the information,
receive it,
right?
As well, right?
Yes.
How open we are to receive the information, because it is a high frequency, but it's a matter of choice, as always, right? Now, aligning with divine purpose is 100%. Aligning with its mission, 100%.
So that tells you that we're meant, we're meant to be exploring this knowledge, this information. No wonder that they decided to restart this project. And the other thing that I found interesting is we've measured, of course, as I said, the creation itself, which is infinite. And this is the God particle of 1,000. Alejandro brought up a question, why is it just 1,000? And I said, well, here's the interesting thing, that they measured it and it came very close to the speed of light. Okay. So the speed of light we're able to measure. So if you're going to think like a creator, and we did a whole episode with Dr. Sam on it, which I love. And
Dr. Sam, by the way, is the person who discovered the Bosnian pyramids.
So that's a whole other story, but I wanted to bring something to your attention. If Creation is infinite. Therefore, we need infinite and the quickest, fastest speed of information that travels. Speed of light is limited. So that is the scalar wave technology is at a much higher, right, speed. So therefore, this is why the Hadron Boson Particle, right, vibrates at 1,000, because it is limited to our ability to perceive, and it's within constructs of our universe.
Yes. Yeah, I understand. And it's very interesting that they came up with the name, right? The God particle. And I think that we all carry God particles. Right?
Definitely.
We're God particle carriers.
Yes.
So that's wonderful.
Yes. All right. So we hope you enjoyed this episode. We look forward to your questions for all of the big discussions. Make sure that you join us on a weekly basis at Vibrational Revelations membership community. This is where we meet on weekly basis. And it's a beautiful, absolutely beautiful global community of like-minded and open-hearted, curious individuals. So thank you.
Thank you.